Hey guys, Below Average Utah Dad, got a quick video for you. How did my AK go from that to this? Well, there's a story behind that. You'll need to click on the link below and check out the related video. But it has to do with one of these and the George H.W. Bush administration from 1990. Hey guys, so I take it you clicked on the link. Well, that's cool. Got to do the obligatory AK rack. Okay, so this is my Norinco Type 56 AK-47. Now, it's a stretch to say that this is a real Type 56. The real Type 56 is a fully automatic AK-47. That they stopped importing when you couldn't get, fully automatic AKs. But they still had the receivers and they still had the parts to export Type 56 style AKs. Well, in the early 90s, the George H.W. Bush administration, they signed a law. And I didn't do a lot of research into this, except for when I was first buying my AK and trying to figure out what the deal was. Because if you saw the picture from the short, and I don't have great editing software, so I'm not going to re-put it into here, but it used to have this monstrosity attached to it. You see, it's one of these pistol grip things, and you probably won't be able to see it very well, but there's a tang that's there. Well, that broke off when I first took this thing apart because it was really poorly welded. You can see it here on the back. You see pictures of it in some of my other shorts. You can see this little U shape. It was really poorly tack welded. And then on the inside of this, it says stamped receiver, MAK-90, AK-47. But here on the side, it's etched with NHM90, and then it's got part of the serial number, and then on the top receiver, it's got the same serial number that's been stamped in. And then the regular serial number that says made right below made in China, that's all been like scored off. It's all been dremeled away, whatever you want to call it. So basically what happened was the George H.W. Bush administration, in an effort to fight drugs and in an effort to stem crime, this type of firearm was the choice of criminals, or at least it was the choice that the media and that you saw in TV shows and in movies. This is the bad guy's gun. Well, obviously, anybody who owns an AK or who's used an AK or likes AK variants, they know that these are great rifles. They last. You can customize them to the extent that you can put different types of handguards on them, different types of pistol grips, different length and capacity magazines on them. You can repair them really easily. If you don't have like the gas tube, you can do things like put a piece of hose in place and it'll still run. It'll run when there's sand in it. They're reliable. And they're really cool. They're fun. I mean, I've worked really hard to take it from the monstrosity that it was and to make it look like this. But anyways, going back to the 90s and the George H.W. Bush administration. And I am going to emphasize George H.W. Bush administration because this is a political party and a political leader who was a Republican. He was a gun guy. He was a Second Amendment guy. Don't get fooled into thinking that just because someone is a Republican that they actually give two poops about your Second Amendment right and what the Second Amendment stands for. Because it isn't hunting stock. It's not about hunting. It's about your right to protect against criminals and your self-defense, your property, your family, and to deter the government from trying to pull some Adolf Hitler type crap. So, because we haven't seen that at all, anything like that at all, regardless of where you stand on the political spectrum, you know, that's not brought up at all by either party or the media or people out there. So, in order to be compliant, what would happen is the Norinco started building these AKs with wood versions of this stock. However, this one didn't have that. It got here and this was attached to it. Why did that happen? Well, this was a Type 56, like I mentioned. When Norinco started doing the actual MAK-90 or NHM-90, it came with the wood stock pre-installed. It came directly from them, and some of those are actually quite nice. There's some people out there that they prefer the MAK-90, which isn't a true AK style, yes, but it's more of an AK style sporting rifle. And MAK-90 stands for Modified AK. So anyways, the Type 56 was the actual kind of People's Liberation Army version. This one obviously is an underfolder. And then there were some with the wood stock, with the pistol grip and the wood handles and all that jazz. This came, when I purchased it, it was listed as an NHM-90, but then it also has in here MAK-90. So in doing some research, what I found out was that there was a whole period of time between like 87 and 89, early 90, when the Norinco didn't know that this this AK-47 ban was going to be put in place, or that with certain cosmetic features was going to be put in place that would make, you know, those things that make the pistol or the rifle much more dangerous. It doesn't. YouTube. This does nothing except it's a cosmetic feature. But what it would, you know, the idea was that by making it less desirable, people wouldn't buy it, or by modifying it to not have the pistol grip, which it has, it's just attached to this awful stock as well. That it would deter sales, or it would deter bad guys or people that had the intention to use it in a crime from buying it. So those AKs that already had an underfolder, a stock underfolder attached, a lot of times what would happen is they would come here and the ATF would put them under like a sanction, or put them in kind of like purgatory, import purgatory, because the ATF was aware that this policy was going to be brought in. At least this is my understanding, and this is from research that I've done. I don't have any sources. This is just all stuff that I found on forums. There's probably someone out there that knows a lot more about this than I do, if you've made it this far in the video. Anyways, so all of these AKs, these civilian AKs, this one does not have full auto, as I said, and they just kind of sat and poured and waited until they were brought in, until after that paperwork was signed. I'm sure that there were some that made it through. This one came in through California, so I'm going to assume that no, it's either California or it's Ontario, Canada. So, hey Canada, one time you guys did have cool guns. Yeah. Anyways, so it sat. They removed the underfold stock. This already had the drilling and everything done in the stamp for an underfolder, which is why, because the NHM-90 and the MAK-90 did not have that feature. The real MAK-90 and the real NHM-90, they came with the prefabbed wood pistol grip stock that was similar to this, but it was made out of like the chew wood, I believe is what it is. It's like a blonde, little bit kind of softer wood. It's not a super hard wood compared to like a maple or an oak or something like that, is my understanding. Again, that's information that I got off forums. I don't know how correct it is, because you know the internet is only truth. If it's on the internet, it's got to be truth. but that's what happened to this. And so my understanding and the little bits and pieces that I've been able to put together is that this was a true Type 56. It came in and it sat in customs or in port or whatever, and then finally the ATF got a hold of it. I'm pretty sure it's California and not Ontario, Canada, like I said, because I don't know that Ontario, Canada did that unless they fell within the same sanctions and they just unless they order their guns through the U.S. I don't see why they would do that, but I don't know enough about Canadian firearm imports. So just to go over some of the features of what was done to this. So the gas block, they ground down completely the cleaning rod holder and the bayonet spike attachment. So that's gone. The 45-degree angle traditional flash hider that would be up here, and it's not really a flash hider. It would just make the flash go up, so that would help with keeping your rifle from rising too much. So it was obviously it was more of a compensator than anything. What is on this right now is it has just a thread cover. It's about 2.5, 3 inches. Yes, this is 2.5, 3 inches. If you were worried that 2.5, 3 inches is bigger than that. But it was put in place and then welded onto the threads. I haven't replaced this yet. That's on my plan. I'd actually like to fully restore it to a true Type 56, but that's going to mean taking off the front sight, taking off the gas block, replacing the gas block with one that can have a bayonet attached to it. Obviously, I was able to get some wood handles. I weathered these handles, and it because all of the Norinco style rifles, they have a little bit thicker receiver. So it's a stamp receiver, but it's 1.5 millimeters instead of 1. I had to kind of use my Dremel to clean it up and get it to fit inside of the actual handguards or to get it to fit inside the gas tube brackets for the lower and upper handguard. And then once I took that off, I had to order. I went with the Bakelite style handguard pistol grip because it looked pretty good with the wood here, and that's what I wanted. This is an original magazine, and then I have another magazine that isn't with me. It's in my drawer upstairs that I bought. It's a North Korean or a South Korean magazine. I don't know. They said it was made in Korea. These are the original sights. It's the original front post. Yeah, it's really just a shame that that even on the more conservative side with the Republicans, that in an effort to appeal to certain voting demographics, I'll say that you had these really beautiful, really well-built rifles, contrary to what a lot of things that come out of China are. Norinco makes a really good AK instead of some of the surplus AKs that you can get, like the Wasser 10. Not saying the Wasser 10's bad, and not saying this Stava Z-Pap is bad. I'm not saying that com block AKs are bad, but most of the research that I've done that's out there says that if you can find like a Chinese AK, if you can find a Norinco, it's worth it because they tend to be built a little bit sturdier. The rifles aren't just chrome lined, like it's solid steel. It's not nitride treated. It's just a really good barrel. It'll last a really long time, and I've put a scope through it and I've checked it out. Its barrel's really in really great condition. Doesn't look like it's been shot too much. So I kind of think that this just sat around and nobody really used it. It was a collector's item, maybe something like that, and it was just awful and ugly with this black stock on it and this crappy plastic black handguard. And the ATF and the George H.W. Bush administration, they just ruined a really pretty piece of art, functioning piece of history. My understanding is that this is. If I really wish that I could get into to see what the real serial number is, because I could probably figure out when it was manufactured. But I'm going to go based on some of the numbers here on the serial number that I can see that have been etched in and that match what I'm assuming used to be there. Is that this was probably an 85, so right around that time that it could have, this could have at one time, you know, been, it may have been destined at one point to be a fully automatic weapon. It's not. But I'm glad that I was able to find it for a decent price. You know, these Type 56s, if you get them fully restored or refanged, they can be quite pricey, up in the 2 to 3 to even 5,000 range. And if you have a full auto one, obviously, you know, you're looking at $25,000 to $40,000 there. Unless, of course, the ATF and the NFA and the different unconstitutional gun laws that are currently in place are done away with because of the Supreme Court, and they're determined that they shouldn't exist. That would be awesome. But yeah, I like this AK. I like the way it looks, if nothing else. You know, I have several ARs. You guys have seen my collection. I've got 3 ARs. I just really wanted an AK for my collection, and I happened to come across this one locally at just a local gun shop. A guy had it. He said nobody was really interested in it because it was ugly, and it wasn't, you know, it said NHM 90. It didn't say AK, and I decided to take it off his hands. He gave me a good deal on it, and now it's mine. So I'm going to keep working to restore it. I'd love to hear some of the things you guys say. I guess I could, instead of make it more like a Type 56, I could get the tactical stuff and I could make it kind of more modernized. I don't think I'm going to put a wood stock on it. You guys can see this doesn't have a flat stock, and finding the stuff and the trunnion to go into the back, because it has a trunnion, it doesn't have sidewall. The rear trunnion doesn't have the sidewall reinforcement because it's already a 1.5 millimeter thick stamped receiver. So I just don't think it'd be worth trying to convert it into a wood stock. If I did anything, I'd just get a different AK. But for those of you that are interested in AKs, obviously I am a big fan of Brandon Herrera, the AK guy, AK Jesus. At least here in the U.S. Also, AK Operators Union is a great resource. Clayco, that's KLAYCOA 47. Another great resource. What I like about Clayco is he kind of talks about some of the negative things in the AK community. It's kind of become a bit toxic in terms of there's some real elitists that are out there that if you do anything besides buying import from the COM, that isn't a Pioneer Arms import, then you're basically buying just absolute garbage. And there may be some truth to that. I don't have a lot of experience with like a cast trunnion. My general experience comes from what I've learned and what I've researched. If you're wanting to get into the AK world, anything with a forged trunnion, like the Pioneer series, I think they have some that they say forged series. There's a couple of other manufacturers that are out there that make some AKs that as long as you know you're getting a forged front trunnion, I think that's the primary thing. You know, whether or not your bolt is cast or whether it's forged, my guess is that if the more forged stuff you can find, then the better. But there are a lot of people that are out there that have used some of the cast stuff that say it works great. If you want to get into an AK, do it. You know, they're cool. They're a piece of history. The story behind Mikhail Kalashnikov, like he's had an important impact on the modern firearm world, and you know this is an almost, really, the design is almost 100 years. I mean, in like 15 years, this is going to be 100 years old. because I think the first prototypes were actually built in like 1940 or something like that. Again, Brandon Herrera, probably firearms history, I think is historic firearms. Whatever, they have more of that. But I'm not a historian. I just know what I know because this is what I got, and I wanted to know what I got. And I really like it. I put a lot of work into it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to know if you watched this whole thing. I hope you did, because that helps my channel. It helps other channels. You'll hear me talk about that and put in the community, in the notes, in the descriptions of all my videos. Like and share and subscribe. The YouTube algorithm does not like the Second Amendment community. It doesn't like GunTube. It doesn't like people that do guns. It doesn't like people that do airsoft guns. There's some people that are out there that have talked about how the airsoft world, like, they're getting impacted from this, because a lot of firearm channels, like myself included, I put hashtag airsoft because it's the only way to help get around some of the algorithms. If I put hashtag guns or hashtag rifle, it kicks it back. I don't get the same number of views. I've already, because I've started to grow, you know, you guys have seen I passed 1,200 subscribers. I'm already starting to get throttled a little bit. My shorts and videos that used to get 2, 3, 5, 10,000 views in 4 or 5 hours, I may be getting 1,000 views in 4 or 5 hours now. I don't think it's because people aren't going to my YouTube channel. I think it's because the algorithm now no longer throws it out towards people that put shorts in their hashtag or people that put funny in their hashtag. It's only throwing it towards other users that specifically look up guns, and that's not good. I'm trying to appeal to a wider audience. I want to bridge the gap between firearm owners like me and regular everyday people like me, and that we aren't just crazies. We're normal. We're fun. We like to tell jokes. We make fun of ourselves. Yeah, like, I have like 10 guns. That's a whole bunch of paychecks that could have gone towards something else. But I was like, hey, you know what I need to do? I need to buy a bunch of guns that I'm not going to use on a regular basis. Because I still have a 9-to-5 job, and because I have a family and I have kids, and all those things. So yeah, I get it. Just like the person who buys a Porsche and drives it, you know, three times a week. You know, it's the same thing with gun owners. We spend money on guns that we shoot maybe a quarter of the time that we tell ourselves, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot that all the time. So I'm not afraid to make that joke, to make fun of myself for that. But thanks for going on this journey with me. I know I super ADHD, autism spectrum stuff. I know that I get totally like blown into the weeds on things and I lose track. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for being patient with anyone who's getting into this YouTube creator culture, whatever. And like, I don't do scripts very well. I just ad-lib it. That's why I've got some blooper videos. But let me know, like, share, and subscribe. Help me beat the algorithm. Help other creators beat the algorithm. You know, look for our videos with different types of words when you can, if you do a YouTube search, see if you can find our stuff. Using some of our other keywords and hashtags, because it helps us. It helps spread who can see our videos, and it will hopefully help bring more people into the community, if nothing else, to have a laugh, and to see that we're not all crazy and we don't all want to go around and do bad things. We're just interested in having fun, exercising our right to protect our families and ourselves, and you know, going out just pew-pewing, because doing pew-pew is fun. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking now. This is a long video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the flip side, or something other catchy phrase. Whatever. Bye, guys.